Hey, everybody. So, there's a bunch of shit on my dresser. Oh, let's try that again. Hey, everybody. So, yeah, let's talk about dissociation. So, when I was a little kid, I sometimes had times where I wasn't sure if I was really in control. And hey, that's normal in a kid, right? That happens with kids. Kids sometimes have things where they're not entirely in control of themselves, except it kind of reached a point where it was a problem. And, well, parents got strong-armed into a therapist evaluation type of thing. And that came back with, like, maybe ADHD or autism, which, yes, autism for sure. Probably a little bit of ADHD, symptomology, neurodivergent, just in general. But it was like, I don't know, is that the whole explanation for it? Maybe, maybe not. Because then there started to be other things as a teenager at the point where, you would think that you would have outgrown dissociation from your actions. But then there were things that got worse, right? So, there were a lot of confusing things happening inside as a teenager. And in retrospect, some of that I was like, oh, maybe gender dysphoria, right? And depression and anxiety and other things. What other things? I don't know. Other things. Depersonalization, derealization disorder? Sounds like it. There's a lot of self-injury. There's a lot of scars left over from that. I don't want to show off all the scars, but there's some on our arms and a lot on our legs. So last year, thinking about getting breast augmentation, right? And having the very, very, very strange experience of reverse gender dysphoria, where something inside me is very upset about the fact that the body has breasts now. Like, that's unusual. And a little hard to explain, especially 6 years sober at that point. Like, none of the shit that I did in my 20s should still be having that kind of impact on me. And then thinking about bottom surgery and having some really, really, really conflicting thoughts about what to do for that. And just not knowing at all. So, just not knowing at all what to do. So, honestly, that's still an undecided question. Like, surgery is still very much open-ended. The only thing that we got fixed was the nose, because it was crooked anyway, so that was pretty easy. But so funny things started happening last fall, right? Talking to someone on Twitter who is plural. And talking to someone who is plural. And, so, I know words like switching and alter. Like, everybody knows those. Everybody's researched that, right? But talking to someone who is plural, who used much more relatable concepts, a sense of inner parts that have their own opinions and feelings, and the idea of autonomous things that are inside you, and just, I don't know, it was language that was much more relatable, much easier to understand. There's also a rather tumultuous relationship. It wasn't supposed to be tumultuous, but that is what happened. And primary relationship, gearing up for marriage, situations changing at work and moving and buying a house. Like, fuck. I was overwhelmed. Very, very, very overwhelmed. And there were times when things got weird in said tumultuous relationship. And I would look back over conversations and be like, this doesn't even sound like me. I don't recognize any of this. Did I even say these things? It's very strange, right? And there are times when I get that certain kind of itch to escape. You know, this kind. But I don't, right? That's not something that I do. I made a decision a long time ago to not do that, to escape. And sometimes when there's thoughts that I'm probably not supposed to be having, things get swirly and then they get taken away. And sometimes when there's stress or something particularly vulnerable gets brought to the surface, I'm not sure what happens, and my memory has more holes than normal. So let's talk about that amnesia a little bit, because I think I experience multiple types of amnesia. I have ordinary forgetting, and I have a significant amount of that. I have a lot of problems with being present, and some of that's the neurodivergence, but some of it's dissociation, and that doesn't help with memory either. Sometimes things kind of just get taken away, or I have these times where I'm not really sure what's going on, but it kind of feels like a dream, and then afterwards, it's like how a dream fades upon waking, and then it's just kind of gone. So you can probably see where this is going. Let's talk about what's inside my head a little bit. Besides the imposter syndrome, like last year becoming a licensed amateur radio operator and never actually broadcasting. Because, yeah. But that's a whole other thing. I used to think sometimes that I could talk to gods or they could talk to me. I'm not so sure about that now because I started doing deep trance work, right? Like deep meditative work. And what I kept having happen was I would have things that I would find that definitely weren't deities. It just seemed a lot like other people. Weird shit. And when you start finding that kind of stuff in your head, not only does it kind of dissuade you from your whole, like, spiritual progress, trying to work on that kind of thing, but it's also pretty unsettling in a variety of other ways, right? See, there's a lot of shit inside my head that doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense because it contradicts itself, and I can't figure it out. And sometimes I get in these loops where I'm trying to figure out how to make sense of what's in my head, and I can't. And then it gets overwhelming. And then sometimes I get so overwhelmed that then all of a sudden it's gone. And I don't feel anything anymore. In fact, honestly, a lot of the time, I don't feel much of anything at all. And I don't notice when the body feels things either. Also, I have a really, really weird relationship to sex, and man, there's a lot of issues with being present for that. I don't know how to make sense of what's inside my head. Like, I just fucking don't. I don't know. It's weird. So yeah, like, I don't know. I guess I should just jump right into it. Yeah. So, sometimes, a lot of the time, it doesn't feel like I am really one individual. It's a lot more like I'm kind of the shell. There's a whole bunch of shit inside here, and a lot of it doesn't belong to me. And sometimes the words coming out of my mouth don't even feel like they're mine. And sometimes I don't even think I'm the one saying them. Fucking wild. It's like my head is just unfinished. Like, there's all these parts of people, chunks of people, random building blocks of a person in there that just never were fully assembled. And then somehow we just ended up with, like, fucking Twister. I don't know. So let me reintroduce myself. I'm not really Leica. I mean, okay, in one sense, it's a pseudonym that we use online. So I'm kind of not Leica, but kind of am Leica. But also, the pseudonym we use online and the body's name are just characters that I play with help from a supporting cast. But honestly, like, a lot of the time, I don't even fucking know what to think. Like, I kind of don't believe it. And I spend a lot of time going in and out of, somehow I'm just imagining all this shit, somehow I've just made all this up, somehow I am just delusional. Except it doesn't feel like the delusions that I do occasionally have, where I think that police are following me and the FBI is watching me, and I know that those are irrational, but I can't shake the thoughts from my head. That's different. This is like, I know it sounds crazy, and I have a hard time believing it, and it's not like I can't shake the thoughts from my head. It's not like they keep trying to assert their realness to me. In fact, it all seems like it's entirely not real. And I have trouble just even thinking it is real. Which is internalized plural phobia. I have lived for a very long time thinking there is a monster in my head. Which is probably now just a protector. I don't really know what they were then. They didn't really seem too keen on me talking about a lot of this on the internet. So I am not naming them, not even using their pronouns, just saying they and them, because I already pissed them off enough. You do not want to piss off people in your head. Okay, so here's the thing. It's not like I hear voices, per se. Let me take that back. I kind of do. But a lot of the times it's like faraway voices and murmurs, and then sometimes it's almost like a teleprompter that's telling me what to say, or sometimes there's kind of an internal experience of voice without it actually having a sound. But the wild fucking thing is, it seems like everybody in here just picks random voices, and like, come on y'all, I can't tell who is who. It's obnoxious. It's really obnoxious. I know I'm supposed to work on communicating with them. That's like what you're supposed to do. They don't seem too keen on communicating. They don't really like to front by themselves. There's a lot more of just passive influence than anything else. Like, sometimes I kind of zone out at work and then realize that I'm doing my work and I'm getting a lot done, and it's sometimes I'm saying things not in a way that I would say them. Or like answering the phone and I'm not using the right voice, and then I don't remember the phone call, but there's notes on the screen, so it's cool. That's a normal experience, right? Okay, normal is a bad word here. It's a super fucking bad word to use. Normative or typical experience would be better to use, because what is normal? I've never been normal. But I've kind of just been at this place for the last 5 months where something is clearly going on, but it's like I'm mostly cut off from it. And I don't really know what to make of it. And I'm not sure how to process any of this, and I have a hard time believing it. And then the less I believe, the more I put up internal walls, and the harder it is to actually figure out what's in my head. Sometimes I go like completely fucking blank, and it's like when TVs had stations to tune to, and there wasn't a station coming in or a radio tuned between the stations, and all you get is white noise, and it's overwhelmingly loud white noise when I'm putting up the walls, or sometimes just when I am not there. So we have a preliminary diagnosis of DID. And it kind of gives me a really unsettling feeling to think about. Even thinking about whether any of this shit is real is pretty fucking unsettling. And honestly, for the most part, I can just go on living my life ignoring it. Because that's what I've done, right? That's basically what I've done for a long time. Is just marched ahead and lived my life and never questioned all of the weird fucking shit. And there is a lot of it. And then when I started to be more open to it, this funny thing happened where suddenly my mind went from being like a super, I don't even know what was in it place, to memories starting to come back, my ability to visualize things coming back, my imagination that I thought had like died in my late teens, early 20s kind of came back, and now like things just pop into my head, and I have a wild imagination that apparently was hibernating for a long time, or I just shut it out, or maybe I don't know what was going on. So like, here we are. I don't know what to do. All the stuff that you're supposed to do if you're a system has not been super helpful, but I get frustrated. I'll try it for a few days, and then I'm like, this shit doesn't work. I'm not a system. I don't have DID. None of this shit is real. And fuck you all for making me think it. And, but then, like, the weird experiences don't go away. Like, realizing that I am partway through a conversation that I actually wasn't present for, and, like, having that, so that's what my voice sounds like, because I'm not the one talking right now, and I'm not expecting the words coming out of my mouth, and wow, I can't remember what happened 5 seconds ago. Yeah, I'm not forming episodic memories, I guess. I wonder if I'll remember this later. I don't know how many times I've had that thought process before I actually remembered it once. Maybe a lot of times. Yeah. So basically, I've just been super impatient. And I keep wanting easy answers and quick fixes, and I know none of this is, and I don't even think I have the right childhood trauma history to have DID. Like, I don't see it. But I don't really have a great explanation for what's going on outside of dissociative parts, which not everyone up here is super happy with language like that is dismissive of their personhood. So there's that. Oh, here we are, I guess. I'm probably gonna keep being pretty damn confused for a while, because I still really don't know what all is in my head. Things have honestly gotten a lot rockier since I started
realizing that I was part of a system.
But I'm gonna keep working on this shit as long as I can get the people in my head to go along with me. And, yeah, I guess that's kind of it for now. So thanks everybody who decided to tune in for this weird foray into what is between my ears. And, maybe at some point I'll have a decent update. But for now, I'm just trying to navigate through it. So, alright. I love you all. I don't know. My little handful of subscribers, but I'm grateful to have people who are curious about what I have to say. I guess. What we have to say. Okay. Peace.